What up boys, velkommen tilbage til endnu en video her på kanalen. I dag, mine damer og herrer, så har jeg fundet en lidt anderledes fodboldvideo, vi skal reagere på. Noget jeg glæder mig meget til, det er, som I kan se på skærmen her, fodboldspillere, der blev opdaget i, der blev simpelthen taget i at snyde fra non-stop football, som jeg har reageret på før, så der er der commentary indover. Glæder mig virkelig meget. Fra den 24. marts 2022, så det er også sådan relativt ny i hvert fald. Måske er der noget vi faktisk kender til, har hørt om før. Vi får se i hvert fald link som altid til videoen nede i beskrivelsen, og lad os bare komme i gang.
Winston Churchill called football the gentleman's game, but that's not always been the case. Here are 10 times footballers were caught cheating.
Here we go, let's go. Okay,
Hand of God. Diego Maradona scored not only the best goal in World Cup history, but the most controversial one too. And both of them came in the same game. At Mexico 1986,
det er det, der er så vildt, det er det der med, at han har Hand of God, og så har han det der fuldstændig sindssyge solomål, som igen begge to var i samme kamp. Altså, som man siger, prøv at overveje at score det mest to af de mest ikoniske mål of all time, og så gør det i samme kamp.
Argentine was gifted the opportunity to make his country proud, but at only 5'5" tall, he was never going to outjump Peter Shilton and get his head on the ball, so he used his fist instead. England were furious, but neither the referee nor the linesman saw it. Diego said the goal was scored a little with the head of Maradona and a little with the hand of God. But it gets worse. That wasn't the only contentious handball we've seen. At the 2010 World Cup, Luis Suarez punched a Ghana header clear before it crossed the line. A few months earlier, Thierry Henry thought he was playing handball before scoring in a crucial playoff against Ireland.
Den der Thierry Henry hånd, og det er derfor, at I også stadig hader Thierry Henry den dag i dag. Altså literally, slår dem ud af, var det VM-kval, eller EM-kval i hvert fald. Damn. Men
Rivaldo's acting outrage. At the 2002 World Cup, Rivaldo was a standout performer. 2 goals, 2 assists, and a piece of acting he could have won an Oscar for. In the group stage against Turkey, Rivaldo was waiting to get the ball back so he could take a corner. But when Hankal Unsal kicked it to him a little harder than usual, he sensed a chance to make history. It hit him, and he went down holding his face and started rolling around on the floor. The linesman was standing right next to him, so he never...
Bro, han står lidt lige der. Jeg ved godt, han måske selvfølgelig holder øje med noget inde i feltet, men altså det her, det pisser mig virkelig meget af. Altså selvfølgelig, den tyrkiske spiller sparker den lidt hårdt hen til ham, men come on, den rammer ham på låret. Altså, og det værste hele er, altså, så vidt jeg ved, fik han en eller anden straf for det her, eller sådan noget? Det ved jeg faktisk ikke, om han gjorde, men et eller andet sted, det burde man begynde at gøre, altså sådan efter kampen, så kan man sige, hov, der var noget her, som dommerne ikke lige opfanget, fordi man er nødt til at få det der til at stoppe jo.
Never fall for this, right? Well, Rivaldo's acting was so good, the official fell for it. FIFA launched an investigation after the match, and Rivaldo was fined $7,350, but he escaped a suspension and played in Brazil's next game against China.
Så fedt. Så kan I så lige se præcis mit svar, altså svar på mit spørgsmål, at jeg spørger lidt, kunne man ikke have gjort noget andet for at straffe ham, så straffer de ham for, hvad var det, $7.500 cirka. Det er jo fucking ingenting for en verdensstjerne, der spiller for det brasilianske landshold, som er en af de bedste spillere i verden på det tidspunkt. Fuck, hvor er det til grin. Seriøst, han har fået sådan en lille lortebøde. Altså det svarer til at give mig en bøde på sådan 100 kroner for at have gjort et eller andet, så sådan lidt, okay, fint nok. Jeg kan da godt slippe afsted med den gang. Altså, come on, man.
Manager forgets he's not a player. Most managers used to be footballers themselves, and many miss it. But few decide YOLO and jump back into the game, like Enrique Martin did. He missed being a player so much that he wasn't prepared to just stand on the touchline and watch the game. The year was 1999, and his Leganes team were 1-0 up against Badajoz. Leganes had sent too many bodies forward, and Badajoz were launching a quick counter-attack. One of their players was racing down the wing, and Leganes were outnumbered in the middle. Martin couldn't be there to stand and watch. He summoned his inner Paolo Maldini and tackled the Badajoz winger, who was sprinting into space. In fairness, it was a pretty good tackle. Martin got all of the ball and none of the man. Unfortunately for him, he was still hit with a 10-game ban.
Oh my god.
The butcher of Blev.
Det har jeg aldrig nogensinde set for det der klip der. Han straight up bare lige sætter foden og tager ham. Hold kæft, det er sjovt. Fuck, hvor er det sjovt. Altså, jeg troede, det var sådan, at han sådan skiftede sig selv ind, eller sådan noget. Altså, han er bare træneren. Han går bare ind og sætter foden ind. Oh my fucking god, dude. Fuck, det er komisk, det der.
Bow. Tackling has always been a part of football, but it's fair to say today's players are much better protected than they used to be. Diego Maradona can vouch for that. He was kicked all over the shop during his playing days. Some terrible challenges on him weren't even penalised with a free kick. These days, the offenders would get a prison sentence. But nothing was worse than a tackle from Andoni Goicoechea. The guy's hard-man persona literally got him nicknamed the Butcher of Bilbao. In 1983, he committed a disgraceful foul against Maradona. I can't even look. The Barcelona forward compared the sound of his breaking ankle to wood breaking. Still, at least the authorities acted swiftly. Goicoechea was slapped with a 10-match ban. Norbert Meyers ban.
Oh my god, ja, det er fair fucking pænt. Det er jo straight up assault, det der. Altså, ikke i nærheden af bolden. Brækker straight up bare hans ben. Klam trækker ben for. Oh my god, den her. Jeg har aldrig set den der før, men jeg har hørt navnet før i hvert fald.
Acting. Play acting is a part of football these days.
elsker det, Louis van Gaal klip. Seriøst, Louis van Gaal, jeg savner Premier League.
But you don't see Pep Guardiola rolling around on the floor too often. Managers don't usually get involved in that sort of thing. Well, unless, of course, you're Alan Pardew. Come on, Alan, you're supposed to be setting an example.
Yes,
but even Pardew didn't go as far as Norbert Meyer. The Duisburg manager once squared up to Cologne midfielder Albert Streit and gave him a little headbutt. As soon as he did so, Meyer fell to the ground, clutching his head as if he was the victim. Have you never heard of TV cameras, Norbert? Well, they weren't really needed anyway. The ref saw the whole thing and sent him off. And Duisburg sacked him 3 days later.
Forståeligt. Ja, vi har reageret før på den her før i andre compilation. Du ved ikke lige historien bag, kan man sige, men altså, hvad fanden laver man? Altså, stopper med ham. Giver ham selv. Altså, han stanger selv hovedet ind på spilleren, og så falder han ned instantly. Altså, I mean,
the disgrace of Dijon. Cheating without breaking the rules may be difficult, but it's not impossible. At the 1982 World Cup, West Germany were facing disaster. They were one of the favourites to win the tournament, but after losing to Algeria, they were on the brink of an early exit. West Germany needed to beat Austria in their final group game. They just needed to win 1-0. Then both teams would go through and Algeria would be eliminated. You'll never guess what the score was. That's right, West Germany won 1-0. Horst Hrubesch scored in the 10th minute, and the two teams spent the remaining 80 minutes passing the ball around without trying to score another goal. The Spanish crowd booed and jeered, but the players were unmoved. After the disgrace of Dijon, FIFA changed the rules so that the final round of group games always kicked off at the same time.
Ja, det er rigtigt. Jeg har nemlig hørt om før det her med, at det er lidt grund til, at hver gang der er sådan, altså sidste kampe, så spiller vi på samme tid som i Premier League. Hver gang der er sidste runde, så bliver det altid spillet på samme tid. Det er selvfølgelig klart, man vil ikke have de her situationer, hvor ligesom Tyskland her, Østrig, var sådan, der vi begge to videre med det her resultat, så hey, ja, det er lidt klamt, kan man sige, fordi det er jo ellers, lad os spørge, det er jo matchfixing, også fordi man kan jo se, fordi de bare står og spiller bolden rundt, der er jo ikke nogen, der er interesseret i at lave noget om på resultater, så ja, det er lidt klamt, men fair play til FIFA for at ændre
Massa intervenes. In playoff matches, the stakes are high, sometimes even dangerous, whether it's the Bundesliga, the Championship, or Brazil's Serie D. In 2013, Tupi faced Aparecidense in the playoffs. The score was level at 2-2 when Ademilson had a golden chance to score the winning goal. He collected a loose ball in the box and fired it past the keeper. It was heading right into the bottom corner until it was cleared off the line by a man on the post. Yeah. It wasn't a defender, though. The Aparecidense masseur had run onto the pitch and kicked the ball clear twice. The masseur ran for his life, with the police forced to step in and protect him from the angry Tupi players.
Så skynd at se hele det der klip, hvis I kan se det. Jeg går for, at det ikke kan vise så meget her på grund af copyright. Men altså manden, han stiller sig ind på stregen. For det første, som vi så syg dobbeltredning der. Det er så godt, at han løber ud, og så tager han sin fucking medical-taske. Altså, som om han ikke har travlt nok, han er sådan, hov, jeg skal den her med. Og så fucking flyver han bare afsted, og alle jagter ham bare. Det er seriøst en af de mest grinerklip, jeg har ikke på en Fab-kanal, men seriøst godt at se det. Det er så sjovt.
And miss. Imagine you're a penalty taker, the score's 0-0, and you're about to step up to the spot. Everyone expects you to score. If you do, you'll be the hero. But if you miss, you'll be the villain. Now that's pressure. As you're preparing to take the kick, you're trying your hardest to stay calm. You don't want anything to interfere with your preparations. The very last thing you want is for the opposition goalkeeper to deliberately sabotage the penalty spot before you take the kick. That's what Augsburg goalkeeper Marvin Hitz did in 2015. He deliberately planted his studs heads into the turf and swiveled a few times. The penalty spot was an absolute mess. When Anthony Modeste stepped up to take it, he slipped on the damaged turf and didn't connect with the ball cleanly. He had dived to his right and pushed the ball away. The goalkeeper's dirty trick had worked, and Augsburg went on to win 1-0. It wasn't the most fair thing to do, the goalkeeper said afterwards. It won't happen again. Marseille, the match fixers. Sometimes football clubs get greedy. Marseille were going for their 5th League One title in a row in 1992-3. It all came down to their game against Valenciennes on the last day of the season. But Marseille were due to play the Champions League final a few days later. They had a dilemma. How could they win their last league game while also being well rested for the final against AC Milan? Bernard Tapie, the club's president, had the answer. He contacted Valenciennes players and offered them a bribe to go easy on Marseille. Jorge Burruchaga and Christophe Robert agreed to deliberately underperform. Their teammate Jacques Glassman was less keen. He exposed the scandal and was given the FIFA Fair Play Award in 1995.
Bro, altså så gør det, hvad man siger, snitches, men altså, come on. Fair play, hatten af for ham, altså, han kunne have tjent kassen på det her, han er sådan, nej, ved du hvad, fuck det gider jeg sgu ikke det der.
Marseille beat Valenciennes 1-0, but their title was revoked once the incident came to light. Tapie was sentenced to over 2 years in prison. Roberto Rojas, razor blade.
Prison, altså han kommer i spjældet for det. Det er måske voldsomt, men fair, det er korruption. Det er straight up korruption, og det er selvfølgelig forkert.
Footballers are desperate to win, but where do you draw the line for taking things too far? In 1989, Chile faced Brazil in a crucial World Cup qualifier. They were 1-0 down and under the cosh. Things weren't going well for their keeper, Roberto Rojas, and that's when he got desperate. A firework was thrown onto the pitch, and the goalkeeper went down clutching his head. It looked like he'd been hit. With blood streaming out of his face, the match was abandoned. It looked like Chile would be handed the win. But then video footage emerged. Rojas hadn't been hit by the firework at all. It turned out he'd actually cut his own face with a razor blade hidden in his glove. Brazil were handed a 2-0 victory, and Rojas was hit with a lifetime ban for choosing the wrong time to shave. One of their cheating incidents was...
Oh my god, den har jeg straight up aldrig hørt om før. Den der, altså den incident her. Oh my god, så han har bare ligget der, og han har straight up gemt et barberblad, en skraver i sin handske, lige taget den ud, lige skrevet sig selv, og så, eller skåret sig selv hedder det selvfølgelig, og så har han så blødt, og så har man tænkt, oh shit, han blev ramt af fyrværkeri, nu bløder han, vi giver dem sejren. Og så får han bare en livstidsbane i stedet for, fuck, det er vildt. Så okay, big up til Nonstop Football for den her video her. Virkelig fede, fede historier generelt her. Så skud til dem. Det var en virkelig fed compilation. Jeg håber, I nødt at se med os derude. Og andet der faktisk kan sige, end selvfølgelig som altid, 1000 mange gange tak, fordi at I så med alle sammen. Hvis I nød videoen her, så glem selvfølgelig ikke lige at gå ned og smid like på den. Subscribe, hvis I vil se mere. Og vi ses.